Chicagoans who rely on public transit are certainly not happy to hear what is on the table to potentially overcome these budget shortfalls. CTA warns that if it does not receive necessary public funding, then 24-hour transit may be coming to an end. Changes could be coming to the public transit system around the Chicagoland area as the CTA, Metra, and PACE face a combined $771 million budget shortfall in 2026. They are warning of service cuts as high as 40% without new revenue coming from the state. Part of that may include limiting CTA bus and rail service lines operating only between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.
We may have to significantly reduce frequency of service or the number of buses and trains coming each hour, which can cause crowding on our buses and trains and may even mean that some customers cannot board those services.
CTA leaders talked about the importance of that funding in Tuesday's town hall meeting, saying Chicagoans would feel the impact if they have to make cuts.
We estimate that the service cuts we may be forced to make will result in 9.1 million hours lost by Chicagoans waiting for less frequent bus and rail service.
That is not what CTA riders want to hear, as roughly 1 million people ride buses and trains each day.
It's really a tough detriment to the city, unfortunate, and yeah, hope they don't do it.
I commute to school, UIC, all the way from uptown, so I use it every day.
While lawmakers negotiate the budget shortfalls, CTA claims Illinois is already struggling with transportation funding compared to the rest of the country. Officials are also contemplating a 10-cent hike in fare prices for Metra, PACE, and CTA to compensate for the shortfall, something riders say would be quite frustrating.
There's always money to be found. Unfortunately, things are being prioritized over other needs, and that's something that probably needs to be reevaluated.
Now, State Senator Ron Villavaum will be hosting a public transit town hall tomorrow at Thurman College. He sent us a statement this afternoon saying he's heard from thousands of constituents concerned about public transit, and he says he's committed to solving these problems. State lawmakers also return to session next month, and this will be on their agenda.
All right. What's going on, good people? Good morning. Peace and blessings. Your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless, and I'm back once again, man. And yeah, man, this right here, as you can see, man, I hope everybody's having a good morning. Pardon the body, pardon my manners. But yeah, as you can see, man, it's going down, man. Chi-Town once again, man. They got to cover Chicago once again. And as the title says, Chicago public transportation budget in a major deficit. And that's not good. And the reasons why that's not good is because so many people in the city of Chicago rely on public transportation. The CTA, the buses, the L's, the trains, the Metro, even in the suburbs, the PACE buses. In the city, they got the CTA. In the suburbs, they got PACE bus. And, even if you have a car, sometimes it's just easier to just hop on the train or the bus to get to a certain location, especially if you work downtown. Like I remember, I was staying on the southeast side and I was working downtown, and it was just easier for me to park my car, hop on the bus, to take me straight downtown, and I get off on my exit, walk a block or two, very convenient, And they saying that they probably gonna have to just have buses going from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Man, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna have more people crowding, which is gonna have, more people subjugated to riffraff, And it's limited security. It's just gonna be bad, man, So, man, this city has been just going through it with the deficit. We had a $1.15 billion deficit for the city budget altogether. Then, the school system had a $734 million deficit. Then we just learned last week that the police department is at almost $100 million deficit. And now the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, is at something like a $770 million deficit, man. This is crazy. You know, this is crazy, man. And before we get off into the content, let's go ahead and take care of our business right quick so we get that on out the way. Okay. Under Title 17 USC Section 107, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use. Tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. Hey, man, when I tell you, man, that the leadership in Chicago is failed leadership, I mean, with a mayor like this and a governor like this, like, the money for the CTA is supposed to come through the state. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with the mayor and the governor? Y'all was talking all this talk about Trump not coming in with the National Guard. Y'all fought Donald Trump on, oh, we're not going to work with you. See, this is what they messed up at. See, it's two main things that they would have had this money, but they made two major mistakes. The first mistake was they did not work with the Trump administration when he first came in office and said, hey, man, we're trying to get the illegal immigrants out of Chicago, out of the country. We need y'all to work with us. If you don't work with us, we're going to cut your federal funding. And by law, they can do it if you don't work with the Trump administration. And what they do? They didn't do it. They told the president how they not going to work with him. How, you know what I'm saying, we going to stand up for illegal immigrants in our city. And we a sanctuary city, and we don't care what you talking about. Like, all to a horrible start, right? So the president like, okay, I'm going to cut your water off. Now you got, like, you know, go get it on your own. Now you out here down bad, you know, high Chicago, a city that never sleeps, with no public transportation after 9 p.m. You didn't have this figured out. And then the second mistake was your first mistake, was even becoming a sanctuary city, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on illegal immigrants, giving them taxpayer dollars. Like, y'all took care of these illegal immigrants at the detriment of, we now see the school system, we now see the police department, we now see the education department, the CTA. Like, y'all spent hundreds of millions of dollars on undocumented citizens, but you don't have money to secure the public transportation in the city. When I say dumb and dumber, like, this is crazy, man. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's get a refresher on what's happening. Now, this is a couple days ago. The first clip we opened up to, that was like, 3 weeks to a month ago. So this is a couple days ago. Let's see where we at.
From budget troubles to safety concerns, CTA passengers sounded off at a town hall tonight. Our Jermont Terry is live with the problems the CTA is facing if funding does not come from Springfield. Jermont.
Erica, CTA says it's preparing for two budget scenarios, one with money it needs to keep services going, the other with a huge budget deficit. And if that money doesn't come in, not only will passengers see cuts in services, CTA says they could stop running at 9 p.m. nightly.
Now, how is this going to look for the people that work for CTA, the bus drivers? I got family members that work at CTA that drive buses. So they hours going to get cut, right? They're going to have more people on their buses because they running them, you know, for a shorter amount of time throughout the night and the day. This is a huge inconvenience on everybody in the city. Now, we told y'all when we said the effects of this $1.15 billion deficit is going to change the trajectory in Chicago for the worse. Now, you got the Chicago Public transportation is compromised. This is just going to be a trickle-down effect. I hope y'all know it. All the businesses, they got McDonald's. All the McDonald's downtown, they left. We already got a crime problem. They left because of the crime, for one. For two, the taxes are too high. When I tell you, this city is crumbling right before our eyes, and when I tell y'all, you got to get these Democrats out of office. But I'm telling you, I was doing my research because I got a comment on one of my videos like, with dog, is there any, you know, do you know who's going to be running for mayor in Chicago? It's like 10 people that's considering running for mayor in 2027. It's about a good 15 people. A good 6 of them are already aldermen. All of them are Democrats. It's not one independent, not one Republican. I don't know, man. Chicago look bad. And why would see now if they would have just let Trump come on in? All right, dog, you want to do the, you know what I'm saying? You want to do the National Guard. You want to do the mass deportation. This what we need. Do you not know how to negotiate? Are y'all trying to destroy this city? You don't want the National Guard here, but I covered a video the other day about Governor Pritzker, which you're seeing. Now, you don't want the National Guard to secure the streets, but you got criminals, allegedly. You taking pictures next to criminals that are working for non-for-profit organizations walking around with safety vests on. You rather have them patrolling the community, talking to kids, trying to stop the crime, when they are the ones that are perpetuating the crime. Because he was wanted in 4 states when you took a picture with him, and then 4 days after that, he was caught up in a hit and run vehicular homicide after robbing a Louis Vuitton store downtown. But you don't want the National Guard here. It's going to be way too expensive. It's not going to be worth it for businesses. Are they already leaving left and right? And it's going to be totally unsafe for anybody to live. It's already messed. It's already chaotic now. All right, let's continue, because I could go on a rant for days about this.
With 1 million people riding the CTA by rail or buses daily, there's no doubt
1 million people ride the bus and the train every day. 1 million people. This is a 24-hour service. They have to fix this. It's no way. I don't understand what Governor Pritzker is doing down there in Springfield, Illinois, but you need to come up with this money, dog. This ain't gonna work. You need to go chop it up with Donald Trump. If you don't have the money, you need to comply with the federal government so you can get the funding. This is about to be a disaster.
it is essential to Chicagoans.
I recently moved to Chicago, and one of the reasons was transit.
Will Filner is one of a dozens who packed Truman College to hear what CTA leaders are bracing for.
And a lot of the jobs that I'm applying to are not near me, so I take the L most of the time just to get to job interviews.
But services he depends on and more than 310 miles of CTA networks are on the verge of getting slashed if state dollars don't come in.
Illinois is dead last when it comes to funding transportation.
CTA.
I wonder why. Y'all sit up here and talk so much cash money, boufale, towards the federal government, but you need their money. But you sit up there loud and proud about how you not gonna work with them, but you don't have no money. It don't make no sense, bro. It don't make no sense. All they trying to do, all the president is trying to do is enforce the immigration laws that have been on the books since the beginning of time. You work with the president, you comply with the federal government, you are entitled to the funding. But then you want to sit up here and complain about how you last on the list. Because you're not in compliance. What is wrong with y'all Democrats in these blue cities? Y'all are just like oblivious to how the law work, bro.
CTA warned those in this crowd the one-time COVID dollars are going away, and its funding gap is projected to get bigger each year starting in 2026. Adding operating hours would get cut drastically.
And if we are forced to cut hours, our service may start at 6 in the morning and end at 9 p.m.
Fewer routes and restricted hours leave many worried.
My concerns are very much, the fare going up, or either cutting some lines, some buses, or anything like that I usually take.
Carlos Barrentos rides CTA both day and night. He showed up to hear CTA address safety too.
No, I don't feel safe. I'll be honest with you.
His concerns are heightened after Chicago police issued this community alert about a man who attacked two riders on the bus on the west side. And it comes after a 51-year-old CTA worker was pushed onto the tracks over Dearborn Street.
See what I'm saying? You see the hostile environment this is going to create? Just push this man off the tracks. And if you got more people on the bus and on the train, that opens up the possibility of more situations like this going on. The inadequate leadership in Chicago and Illinois is the cause of this, bro. We've been screaming for the mountaintop over here about how inadequate and incompetent the mayor, especially the mayor, is. We just not really going in on Governor Pritzker. But if y'all don't make a change and demand more from y'all local and state government, while y'all so worried about what the president is doing, you need to be telling these people to work with the president, because this is going to get bad really quick, really bad, really fast. If they don't hurry up and come up with the funding for the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, this is going to get bad. 9 p.m., yeah, all right. And it ain't no public transportation after 9 p.m. You do that in some type of little small hick town, not Chicago. It's going to get bad, bro.
In the Loop on Tuesday. As CTA advocates for money, the acting president insisting security is just as high, touting the new CPD CTA Support Center.
And this has access to CTA cameras. It's staffed with police, with detectives, and it creates a really heightened awareness and observation from the police.
Now, as CTA calls on state funding for the fall session, CTA passengers, they want to feel safe now and not worry about the potential cuts that could come if the money doesn't come in. CTA will hold its final town hall next Thursday at Malcolm X College. Live in the...
All right. Yeah, man. This is crazy, dog. This is next level crazy. Like, on so many different levels. Because all of this is hitting at once, all these deficits. But what's even more crazy is the police, right? The police presence has to get cut back because they had a $1 million deficit. But the public transportation, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be even more crazier, but they not gonna have the police to cover what's going on, on each route, because they gonna have to cut some officers. Everybody gonna have Like the bus drivers gonna have they paychecks cut. The police officers, a lot of them gonna get cut. It's just gonna be lawlessness, man. That's what I see. Because all these different deficits, there's no way that you can keep these people working the way that you need them to. And that would have been perfect to have a National Guard step in with 3,000 to 5,000 more police officers to secure the lack of police presence that you have in the city. Is just common sense. Oh no, we don't need the National Guard. We don't need this. We don't need that. But send us that money though. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Like Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker, that's why I call them dumb and dumber. Y'all are bankrupting the city of Chicago. Governor Pritzker down there in Illinois, you supposed to have the state funds to cover this. Where the money at? Oh, I forgot. Y'all spent it on illegal immigrants. This is crazy, y'all. And when we say they prioritize illegal immigrants over the tax-paying citizens that get up and go to work every day, go to school every day, this is what we talking about, man. This is exactly what we talking about. And they proving this more and more. But let's see what your governor, Pritzker, has to say about some of this stuff that's going on. Crazy, dog. I'm telling you, man. We need to have this addressed. Share this live. Let everybody know what's going on. Because people, I don't even know if people really aware of this. I haven't heard nobody talking about it with the CTA. This is crazy. And then he want to sit up here and throw shots at Trump like it's a game. See, that's the thing with the Democrats right now. Instead of coming up with solutions, instead of coming up with legislation, instead of coming up with ways to better serve the citizens, all they want to do is be whatever Trump on, we against it. That ain't finna work for y'all. That ain't working for y'all, bro. When y'all gonna get off of that? Let's see what this dude got to say, man.
Jeremy. So, Governor, hey, the Illinois Auditor General released a report today showing that the Illinois Department of Corrections, among other things in the audit, were allowed to work overtime on the same days they were on paid leave, raising concerns by the Auditor General that prison employees were abusing overtime. It's not the first time the Auditor General has raised overtime-related issues with agencies under your leadership. What's your reaction to this new audit, and what's your administration doing to remedy the problem?
Well, I haven't seen this audit. Let me say that right up front. But let me also point out that, as you know, these audits are a year or two old when they come out. And you may recall that a couple of years ago, every industry was having trouble hiring because there was a labor shortage, including all of the departments of the state of Illinois. We've rectified that to a greater degree. We've hired quite a number of people. I think you've seen us announce that. But look, number one is we want our correctional officers to be safe. We want to have enough correctional officers at any given moment that are covering the prisons and all of their duties. And so it may be that there was overtime or that there was some observation by the Auditor General that too much money went to the correctional officers. But I have to say, they do an amazing job. And we don't want to, cross any of the rules of hiring, but we also want to make sure that we've got enough people on the job to do the job when we need them.
Your office also released an executive order redirecting state agencies to identify up to 4% of fiscal year 2026 funds to put in reserves in order to mitigate any adverse action from President Trump's economic policies. But why wasn't this action taken through like a memo, like through an internal government action, as opposed to an executive order, which makes it look political and furthers your public feuding with President Trump?
See, that's the thing, what I'm saying. The question that he asked was very instrumental, was like, you made policies and put out executive orders to go directly against the President of the United States. Why would you sit up there and make executive orders to go against the President of the United States instead of coming up with legislation to better serve the people of Illinois? You so politically driven to go up against the president, it's like a game to you people. When the city is, about to erupt and be bankrupt, you mean to tell me Chicago is the biggest city in your state, Governor Pritzker, and you don't have a plan set in place immediately to get the Chicago transportations under control? You don't have a plan in place to have the Chicago public school system be leveled at a even playing field. It's at a $734 million deficit. You don't have a plan in place for the Chicago Police Department for that $100 million that they need to cover to keep. We already short 1,002 officers. You don't have none of that. You don't have none of that on your mind, but you got it on your mind to put in executive orders to go directly against the president of the United States for a political agenda. You that TDS, Trump deranged syndrome, while you taking pictures with people that's sitting up there doing smash and grabs that's wanted in 4 states with safety vests on, talking about they keeping peace in the community when they stealing and robbing in the community. You ain't think about none of that when you put that executive order in instead of working hand in hand with the president so you can get the funding. But you, Mr. Hyatt Motel family, you are a billionaire, so it don't bother you. You know, you got it in your back pocket if you wanted to go ahead and clear up some of this stuff because you's a billionaire. I can't. Let's just hear what the dude got to say.
Executive order is something that we do all the time when we want to make an emphatic effort to accomplish something and make sure that it's understood throughout the entire executive branch that this is everybody's responsibility. And so that's one of the reasons that we put it out in EO form. Very important to us that we deal with what Donald Trump has done to, well, almost every state. In fact, I believe every state, in fact, has been had their budgets significantly impacted by the policies of the big ugly bill, the policies of his administration. There are hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to have to be made up for as a result of the cuts the federal government is making, including.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Democrats in the word salad, man. I'm going to cut that
all
off.
The time when we want to make an emphatic effort to accomplish something and make sure that it's understood.
Word salad, bro. Word salad. That's what I'm saying. They ain't got nothing to talk about, bro. I just wanted to show y'all. They don't have no plan, bro. They don't have no plan. They just sit up there and just run their mouth, bro. When there's a dire situation, like people don't understand. If they don't fix that situation with the CTA, and I mean fast, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be chaos. People can't get to work, get to school. You know what I'm saying? There's too many. They ain't got enough buses and trains to go around. That's going to be a hot mess on the streets of Chicago. Trust and believe. Y'all better figure that out. Y'all talk about $700 and some million, man. You must be crazy. But yeah, man, there's some people sitting up there that's, some aldermen and stuff like that chopping it up about the situation, man. So I want to bring that up just to see what the aldermen and some economists got to say. They really ain't got much to say either, but they talk about the $1.15 billion deficit. And I told y'all, our kids, if they still living in Chicago, they gonna be paying for this deficit, man. It wasn't no joke, man. That was serious.
At City Hall, the budget crunch is officially on. Next month, Mayor Brandon Johnson will reveal his spending plan to council members. To get the conversation started, his hand-picked budget task force is out with its long-anticipated report. To close the city's anticipated $1.15 billion deficit, the working group made up of business, labor, and community representatives came up with a list of new revenue and savings ideas. They suggest raising taxes on bottled water, plastic bags, as well as increasing the garbage collection fee. They also...
Man, hold fast, bro. Hold fast. This is what you got: $1.16 billion in debt. If this is Mayor Brandon Mohawk Johnson's plan to raise taxes on bottled water and plastic bags, that's number one. Number two, increase garbage collection fees. Number three, $4 a month employee head tax. What in the hell is $4 a month employee head tax? What? If you got a head, you got to pay $4 a month. So that's everybody got to pay $4 a month. Okay. Unless you just come in and you forgot your head at home and you just walk in with your neck and your shoulders. I don't know what that means. But this is your sub 10% mayor of Chicago. He has a sub 10, yes. He has to be the worst mayor in America. He has to be. He has the lowest approval rating of any politician in American history. This is your plan. How many bottled waters how much tax can you put on plastic bags and garbage collection fees when you can make up $1 billion, man? This is a joke, bro. Chicago, this is your mayor.
Also say reinstating a $4 a month employee head tax, an annual property tax increase tied to inflation.
Oh, you ran on the fact you want to go raise people property taxes, but see, you want to put all this other colorful nonsense in front of you gonna be raising people property taxes again. That's the only way you can even put a dent in this $1 billion, bro. And I mean like a very small dent. You talking $1 billion deficit for one city. But you ain't want to work with the president because you don't need the National Guard. Man, let that man send the National Guard, and on the back end, you work out a deal for some bread. Are you slow? You dumb and dumber. Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson. Y'all dumb and dumber, bro. It shouldn't even take a rocket scientist to know that you need to work with the federal government to get the funding you need so you will avoid situations like this. But let's continue.
That'll help bridge the gap. On the savings side, the task force recommends furlough days for city workers, raising the employee health care contribution, disbanding the police horse unit, and diverting some 911 calls to telehealth service providers.
This man plan. Look at your mayor plan to handle this $1.15 billion deficit. Look at his plan. Raise employee health care contribution. Disband CP horse unit. So you gonna take money from the horses. You know, sometimes the police like to ride the horses. Y'all like, hey man, forget them horses. We're gonna take that bread and put it towards this 1.15 million. Say you might save with all this, you might save 455 million. That's one. Is that even a third of what, you know, is that even a third of that 1.1 billion? What you think you're going to save is 455 million doing all this. Divert some 911 calls to health service providers. How's that saving money? Look at your mayor budget. Look at his plan, man. He don't have a plan. This is some stuff he just threw together. This is a joke, bro.
But the final say comes from the mayor and city council. Johnson has remained adamant that he won't propose a property tax hike. What exactly he will support, still not clear. Budget watchdogs are encouraging more long-term solutions.
We know what we inherited. We knew what we got ourselves into when we ran for office, and we made a commitment that the ills of the past, that we're going to provide the necessary response so that we can continue to build safe and affordable communities. We don't have a spending problem in Chicago. We have a revenue problem. And that.
What? I'm telling you, if this man don't have the most dumbest quotables. I remember back in the day, they had the hip hop, the Source magazine. And you know, a rapper say something slick, they be like, oh, that's a quotable. You know, he had some bars. This dude be having the dumbest political speaking talking point quotables. I'm telling you, we don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. We got to take that back a little bit, man. Where do he be getting these talking points from? This dude, I'm telling you, Brandon Johnson is the gift that keep on giving as far as he's great for content. He's great. He's amazing content, but he's a horrible politician, bro. Listen to this, man.
Ills of the past, that we're going to provide the necessary response so that we can continue to build safe and affordable communities. We don't have a spending problem in Chicago. We have a revenue problem. And that.
Yes, you do have a spending problem, bro. You do. You just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on undocumented. I'm just like, I done said this so many times. I feel like an automatic, what's they call it? When you just repeat yourself all the time. Like I'm in automation with this. I've said this. You just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on illegal immigrants. On the back end, you ain't got no money to even make sure that the transportation, the public transportation is good, bro. I mean, this dude should be like, I'm at all that this dude even can sit up here and say this. How did y'all vote for this guy? How did he get in office? How? It's just mind-boggling to me. We don't have a spending problem. We have a revenue problem. You had the money, bro. You had the opportunity to work with the president to get more money. But you chose to be in the predicament that you in this downward spiral that you taking. You gonna bankrupt Chicago. You and the governor, Dumb and Dumber. Y'all are the dumbest politician duo ever. I don't see how these people sitting over there ain't telling you this. Like, that was stupid, bro.
That's why my budget is going to reflect the values of working people, where we're going to challenge the ultra rich to pay their fair share of taxes.
It's hard to understand actually what the logic is to it just being a revenue problem, other than wishing that the state is going to open up either the authority for the city to tax willy-nilly, which it's not going to do, or the state itself is going to come up with a lot of that money, which I don't know how many times the governor has to say. And it's not just the governor himself, it's the entire state legislature to say, there isn't the money there right now.
We didn't really know the extent.
Wow, bro. Like, I don't even want to see no more of that, man. Like, we get the gist of it, man. I don't want to make this super long, bro. But we see the plan that he has, the so-called plan. You know, you want to tax your plastic bags when you go grocery shopping, and you buy the water bottles and all that. Stupid. The only thing that he put all this around was he gonna be raising people property taxes. That's the only way that he'll be able to come up with anything substantial towards the deficit. He gonna have to raise property taxes. When he sat up there and ran on the campaign that he wasn't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's really unfortunate, man. All these different deficits that the city's sitting at, they running the city in the ground, bro. I'm telling you, this is devastating for Chicago, bro. And my advice would be trying to get the hell up out of Chicago. That's the only thing you can do. Because the citizens, they just as slow. You had the president had Chicago as the apple of his eye. And once again, after rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, he said Charlie Kirk told him, because he had moved on from Chicago. But now you got Charlie Kirk just passed. And he said, man, because Charlie Kirk from the Chicago area. He's like, man, please save Chicago. And now Trump back at it again. Y'all need to tell this dude, Brandon Johnson, and especially Governor Pritzker, to let Trump come in and help y'all clean up this mess. Clean up this dirt y'all drop. Otherwise, y'all finna have Chicago literally like a third world city in America, bro. It's finna be bad. You ain't even got public transportation, man, after 9 p.m. in the major city. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. But shout out to the content creator on this video. It is Anton Daniels, and he's gonna break it down, man, what's going on right about now, man. It's crazy. Yep, so let's get into that.
So, do you see how stupid it is over in Chicago right now? They are down police officers. They are fudging the numbers and reallocating how it is that they classify crime. They filtering the money through, and they're basically giving it to criminals. And we learned firsthand exactly what that looked like with the smash and grab at the Louis Vuitton store, while at the same time the governor was taking a picture with the guy the day before they did it, and then they arrested him after he killed somebody. We see the mayor crashing out. They got a $1.15 billion budget deficit. The schools are $734 million in the hole. We just learned just the other day that the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, is short hundreds of millions of dollars, and trains is going to be shut down and people going to get laid off, and they're not even going to run past 9 o'clock, which is essential for you to continue to keep up the idea that people can get to and from work that don't necessarily have a car and all of this stuff. Public transportation is very important for any city. And you see them now saying that they want the police department, who is already understaffed thousands of positions, to cut their budget by roughly $100 million, which means that less police is supposed to be on the street. And then you got people like this still on the defund the police campaign that's trying to take another $300 million away from the police and give it to the community. Mental health crisis. Honestly, I thought it was Los Angeles at one point. Chicago is the poster child for failed leadership.
Absolutely. Chicago is the poster child for failed leadership. They done took the baton and took off running. And that ain't easy, man, because Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass, all these Democratic ran cities and states, I'm telling you, they top of the list. They top of the list for failed leadership. Ain't no coincidence, bro. Ain't no coincidence to this, man.
failed politicians, Illinois, in the United States of America, without even questioning, without a doubt. They are the poster child for what is wrong with leadership inside of the United States of America. Without even
Money.com. Yeah, it ain't nothing to talk about. I mean, who else doing something like this? What other major city is on the verge of losing their public transportation? What an embarrassment. You see what I'm saying? That's an embarrassment, bro. Ain't no way you can explain that as a governor, as a mayor. When we talk about safety, transportation, adequate transport, you can't even provide adequate transportation for your city. Are you insane? If people sit up there, oh, we don't want Donald Trump over there. You see how deranged people are? The man he's in office. He won the election. Ain't nothing you can do about it. If you think Kamala Harris would have won, you think I'll be up against everything she knows. She would have been the president. We need to work with the federal government. If you state, you got to work with the feds. They so Trump deranged, they going against everything the man's trying to do. And the citizens just sitting there like, oh, man, whatever. Let's see what the citizens got to say, man, before we get up out of here, man. I keep preaching till I'm blue in the face, man. Because I love my city, but, man, sometimes I'll be looking at my city like they embarrassing, bro. Like, is y'all slow or something? Like, y'all don't see this? So.
Tonight, tension in Broadview. Protesters clash with Border Patrol and ICE agents as President...
Look at this. Hold on. Go back. Look at this, man. Now, we already got ICE out here trying to do what they got to do. And a lot of these people, when I was talking to my homie, and I'm happy I caught this right here, a lot of these people not even from Chicago. You like, oh, no, them the Mexicans. Nah, ain't the Mexicans down there, man. We ain't got time for this. These are paid protesters that ain't even from here. White, a lot of them, most majority
tension
of them
in
white.
Broadview. Protesters clash with Border...
Like this lady. She sit up there trying to fight the damn ICE agents. They had to take her down. And this lady out here 60-some years old, and then you sitting up there fighting them, and then when they retaliate, you wanna play victim. What is you doing down there, lady? This is what I'm saying. Like, these blue states is so just retarded, bro. This is mental illness, bro. This is crazy. Why would y'all be down there messing with the federal agents trying to do their job, bro? All they doing is enforcing the immigration laws that's been on the books since the beginning of time. And y'all down there protesting? Goofy as hell.
Border Patrol and ICE agents as President Trump once again threatens to send in the National Guard. Chicago's pension nightmare, debating what to do about city pension funds that might already be insolvent and could drag Chicago taxpayers down with them. Welcome to the Chicago Report. I'm Paris Schutz. The small western suburb of Broadview has seen some tense moments over the last several days as a group of activists protest ICE and Border Patrol agents who are detaining suspected undocumented immigrants at an ICE facility there. The Department of Homeland Security says Operation Midway Blitz has captured more than 400 people, actually now 550, since it started earlier this month. And they say that the words of Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson are fueling the discord. But today, Senator Dick Durbin says he's not buying it.
Fewer than 30% of those who've been arrested have any kind of criminal background whatsoever. So 70% of the people who are being detained have no criminal record. The president can rant about rapists and murderers and terrorists and criminally insane people coming in as immigrants, but those who are being arrested don't have any indication of that behavior. So if we're going to make America safe, let's put...
This is why I get so frustrated with these people, folk, man. It don't matter like if they committed the crime. They committed the crime when they came over here illegally. So regardless of if they out here doing crime, they over here, they ain't supposed to be here. We don't know, we don't have no DNA of these people. We don't have no fingerprints of these, they undocumented. They flying up under the radar. They in our city illegally. They in our country illegally. They need to come in the right way so we know what to have an account for who's in the country. Like, you a politician, don't you know this? Like, why we got to keep explaining it?
Put the resources into stopping criminals.
It is incumbent upon J.B. Pritzker, Mayor Brandon Johnson, to turn down the rhetoric, because they are repeating and really turning to violence. You see them really depraved individuals who are being held in this processing facility. Why do they want them out? Why do they want them released? It makes no sense, and you're just putting Chicago residents in further danger.
Now, all of this comes amid confusion over President Trump's on-again, off-again statements about sending in the National Guard. As recently as yesterday, at the memorial for slain conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk, he said he would send help, in his words, to Kirk's home state of Illinois. And joining us now is the executive director of Free Illinois, Reverend Sierra Bates Chamberlain, and Paul Vallis, former City of Chicago budget director, CPS superintendent, and candidate for mayor. Welcome, both of you. Reverend Sierra Bates Chamberlain, I'll start with you. How are these on-again, off-again calls for the National Guard playing in Chicago's communities? How do residents feel about this?
Many residents are really disturbed about the president's threats to sending in the National Guards. And many of us really feel like he's using the pain of Chicago to politicize this moment and playing.
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. He's using the pain of Chicago to politicize. He's trying to help your goofy ass. Y'all can't even figure out how to keep y'all Chicago public transportation running. Y'all can't even know how to make sure that your school system ain't at a $734 million deficit. Your police department has to cough up $100 million. What other cities are dealing with this? $1.15 billion deficit. But Donald Trump needs y'all to politicize something? Lady, are you insane? Like, what is wrong with you? Y'all people had Trump derangement syndrome. At your you bite your nose to spite your face. If you would work with the federal government, let them send in the National Guard. On the back end, and I'm giving y'all some free game. This is what we need. Okay? You scratch our back, we scratch yours. But instead, y'all want to work and throw this rhetoric out here. He trying to come do a reroute because his good friend just passed. And asked him to come back, and y'all still talking crazy. Y'all about to lose the public transportation, and you still talking crazy. Unbelievable. You see the mindset of these dang old Democrats, man? They delusional. She looks delusional. Look at her. Talk about Trump trying. He already the president. He don't need to politicize nothing. What do you need to politicize Chicago for? Crazy.
Playing a political circus.
And Paul Vallis, you've written a lot about public safety recently. The National Guard, as much as you want folks helping keep neighborhoods safe, maybe perhaps they're not the right people.
No, they're not the right people. Look, I think they're both politicizing it. Clearly, Trump's trying to appeal to his base. Meanwhile, I think Johnson and Pritzker certainly see Trump as the scapegoat for just about everything. I mean, the city's got a lot of problems. The state has a lot of issues. There certainly needs to be a preoccupation with Trump. Let me point out that, I just posted today, while they were having performative theater at the at the collection point with the ICE agents.
The Broadview facility.
That's right.
And by the way, we have some live shots of that as we expect some more protests to happen there.
Yeah. But let me point out
There
that
you go. That's going on.
But I think the fatality rate among out of school age youth murdered in Chicago now has hit 24 or 25, including 10 under the age of 12. And I think there's been 131 children shot and wounded in Chicago. So, we have some issues that we should be focusing on too. It would be great to have some protests about the fact that we continue to be the murder capital of the world when it comes to the, to the fatalities and shootings of school-age children.
Well, but not per capita. I mean, per capita, it's not entering the top 20 in American cities. And I'm not trying to qualify. And
well, actually, among large American cities, we are within the top 20. In fact, we're very high. But let me point out that per capita, I think we have 1/4 or 1/5 the murders that they have in New York, or 1/3 the murders that they have in LA. So clearly we have issues, but to warrant the National Guard, to warrant that type of federal intervention, absolutely not. Having been in the National Guard for the better part of 2 decades and having sons who have been in the service, it's not effective to deploy the Guard. It's not like there's riots in the streets where you need to, in effect, deploy people. Right now, crime is dropping, although crime continues to remain a major problem in Chicago.
Well,
see, this is what I'm saying. You double talking. Yeah, it's dropping, but it still remains a problem. Huh? Listen. If we see on any given Sunday or Saturday, we seeing multiple people, like if it ain't a holiday, all right, it might be about, 15 to 20 people got shot on the weekend. If it's a holiday, it might be 40 to 50 people. But that's just regular. That's just regular, though. Like, yeah, it's still crime, but like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this should not be going on, bro. It's not normal. And then they brush it off like, oh no, the National Guard, that's not. But then when you look at Washington, D.C., when you look at California, the National Guard helped out. Now, it's not a long-term goal, but it's a start. You got to start somewhere. Lord. Let me see.
And that's what the Guard has been known to be trained to do, which is crowd control, infrastructure, guarding. But Riven, Sierra Bates Chamberlain, the mayor just came out with some figures saying that homicides were down this summer 47% from last year, violent crime overall down 23%.
But you see what I'm saying? Crime down. They say the percentage, but they never say the numbers.
Residents feel safer, or is there a difference between how safe you feel and what these numbers reflect?
I think we have to realize that two things can be true at the same time. Yes, violence is reducing. A lot of the community strategies are working, and yet violence is still occurring. So many residents still feel the pain and the trauma.
So what you saying? The crime prevention organizations. Let me stop that right there, man. We almost at an hour. Like, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. You talk about the same people that was in the safety vest, the $30 million safety vest, that's getting caught doing smash and grabs, that's contributing to the crime, that they get $30 million. They got $30 million for them, but they don't got no money for the public transportation, man. It's a joke. Hey, man, it's your boy Jay Taylor. Voices for the voiceless. We love y'all. Until next time, see you soon. Drop it off in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all need to hurry up and fix that Chicago public transportation, though. Don't sleep on that. Y'all have a great day. Peace and blessings, everybody. Love.